Vexara mines erupted like a hellscape. The planet was a humid hellscape where jagged crystal outcrops, thrust from the jungle floor under a blood-red sun, steam hissed from crystal veins as human slaves broke their chains and ran through the tunnels. Behind them, towering insectoid Dravex elites, towering insectoid enforcers with thick, segmented carapaces etched with glowing crimson runes, gave chase, their red eyes gleaming and plasma lances crackling. The last slave, a scarred man, lunged for a hidden beacon, fingers trembling as he activated its signal, a desperate, flickering pulse. A plasma lance cut him down, but not before the signal escaped into space. "No call escapes our purge," the Dravex leader hissed, impure embers snuffed. They were wrong. The signal was already gone. Across the galaxy, aboard the rebel shuttle Starfire, a faint ping registered on Finn's console. The lanky tech was in his early 20s. With tousled brown hair and wire-rimmed glasses that fogged in the recycled air, his lanky frame clad in a standard jumpsuit. He pushed his glasses up and leaned closer. "Aria, got something. Weak signal, but it's human. Could be a distress call." Aria Voss, only 23 years old but the fierce leader of the team, strode into the cockpit with the commanding presence of a warrior reborn, her flowing black hair swaying, intense green eyes narrowing as she adjusted her neon holsters, her low-cut tank top and tight shorts clinging to her athletic frame. "Show me, Finn." "Every signal's a fight worth taking." Lieutenant Cairo Iron Voss, a hard-edged black male warrior in his early 30s, with a chiseled jaw shadowed by stubble, piercing dark eyes under a cropped fade haircut, scoffed from across the room. "Ghost noise, Finn. Too faint to work with. You're chasing echoes." Zara Hale stepped forward, a striking black female warrior in her mid-20s, athletic and poised, with sharp cheekbones, intense brown eyes framed by tight braids, and a lithe build in a reinforced tactical suit paired with a cropped utility jacket. "Could be survivors, Lieutenant. Worth checking out." A blue hologram flickered to life. Clyra, a mid-20s Solari female hacker, flickered into existence as a semi-transparent hologram, her scaled blue-green skin shimmering with bioluminescent tattoos pulsing like digital veins across her sharp, angular features, piercing violet eyes scanning data streams, clad in a sleeveless vest with holographic projectors and cargo pants with gadget pouches, her long tendril-like hair extensions swaying with the code she wove. Signals degraded, but Finn's right. It's human-coded, traceable. Finn adjusted his glasses, hope lighting his face. "Give me an hour, Aria. I can trace it." Aria's smile had an edge. "Prove it, geek. Impress me and I'll owe you one." Cairo rolled his eyes, but his gaze lingered on Zara for just a moment. "Waste of time. Let's focus on real threats." An hour later, Finn had coordinates. Vexara, a mining world in hostile space. Aria's expression darkened when she heard the name. She disappeared into a private comm room. Admiral Thorne's weathered face appeared on screen. "We suspect it's a void crystal mine, Aria. It's most likely a Dravex weapon stockpile. We have to stop them from making more weapons that they use to kill whole planets. Destroy it first, save who you can, but the supply is priority one. It's dangerous as hell." "Understood, sir. Time to teach those bugs a lesson." She emerged and called the team together. "Urgent briefing." Vexar is confirmed. Dravex are mining void crystal for a planet cracker weapon. Thorne's orders: destroy the supply. Save any slaves if possible. This could turn the war, but we could also be walking into a trap. The team gathered around the holo display showing Vexara's hellish surface. Cairo straightened. "Outnumbered, that's my specialty. Let's hit them hard." Zara nodded. "For the slaves, I'm in." Finn beamed at Aria. "I'll keep tracing signals." "Impressed yet?" Clyra's tattoos pulsed. "My hacks can blind their sensors. Count me in." Aria clapped her hands. "Good. Now the bad news. Vexara's a furnace, hotter than a star's core and humid as a swamp. We go in light, minimal gear only. You can't wear your full tactical gear, or you will wilt from the excessive heat and humidity. Drink as much water as you can bear. And Cairo?" She grinned. "Set the ship's climate to match. 3 days to acclimate or we melt. Get everyone ready." Groans filled the room, but Aria's eyes blazed with purpose. "Ready to battle some bugs?" "Damn right you are." Training began immediately. The Starfire's bay became a humid nightmare. Temperature cranked to mirror Vexara's hell. The crew wore lighter clothes to deal with the heat. Sleeveless t-shirts and shorts for the men, and tank tops and shorts for the women. But they all wore combat boots that would be needed for the planet's jungle terrain. Cairo led brutal drills, barking orders while sweat poured down his face. Break or adapt. Move, Zara! Zara flowed through combat sims with dancer's precision, her respect for Cairo growing despite their friction. Some unspoken tension crackled between them. With them was a new recruit, Aiden Sanderson, a tall, red-haired man with a long beard who was powerfully built. He was only 32 years old, but looked much older because of everything he had been through. The Dravex had wiped out his whole family, except for one younger brother, and all he thought about was revenge. Because of his appearance, some of the others nicknamed him Viking. But despite his cold demeanor, everyone was glad to have such a fearless fighter alongside them. Despite being drenched in sweat, he pushed himself even harder. Finn stumbled through tech scenarios, but pushed himself harder, constantly glancing at Aria for approval. Almost got it, Aria. She winked at him. Keep it up, hero. Clara's hologram flickered in the heat. Sensors adjusted. Enemies won't see us coming. Mid-drill, Aria saw that all of them were covered with sweat. She called out, The heat is even worse for the Dravex. If the bugs melt first, we win by default. Keep moving. The team laughed, their complaints fading into determination. The irony wasn't lost. The Dravex's purge paradise would be their downfall. 3 days later, the Starfire warped toward Vexara. Sensors showed Dravex patrols thickening around the system. The ambush Aria had predicted. Cairo monitored enemy movements. Patrol densities increasing. They're expecting us. Zara worked on bypassing a security drone. Let them come. We're ready for their hell. Finn traced the original signal to its source. Signal originated from the main mining complex. Got the exact coordinates. Aria studied the tactical display. 3 days to prove ourselves. Time to teach those bugs a lesson they'll feel in their mandibles. A proximity alarm shrieked. Dravex scouts had found them. Contact! Cairo shouted as plasma fire lit up their screens. Aria grabbed the controls. Hold on! We're going in hot! The Starfire banked hard as enemy fire scorched their hull. But this was just the beginning. The Starfire dove into the asteroid belt with Dravex scouts on their tail. Plasma lances streaked past the cockpit as Aria banked around massive tumbling rocks. Clyra, scramble their targeting! Cairo, get on the turret! Aria shouted over the alarms. Clyra's hologram flickered as she worked. Jamming their locks. Give me 10 seconds. Cairo sprinted to the rear gun turret, plasma cannon spinning up. His first shot courted Dravex scout in a brilliant explosion. 1 down. But more were coming. Their whole patrol's converging. Zara called from sensors. We're outnumbered, 20-1. Aria slingshot the shuttle around an asteroid the size of a city. The pursuing scouts couldn't match the maneuver. 3 smashed into the rock face in balls of fire. Hacks win wars, Aria grinned. Clyra, tell me you've got something. Warp signatures scrambled. They've lost us for now. Clyra's tattoos dimmed as she relaxed. But I intercepted their communications. Bad news. They weren't just patrolling. They were hunting us specifically. Cairo returned from the turret, grim-faced. Someone leaked our mission. Or they're better prepared than we thought, Zara countered. Either way, we're walking into a trap. Finn's console chirped. I'm picking up more signals. Not distress calls. Dravex military chatter. They're mobilizing their entire fleet around Vexara. The team exchanged worried glances. This wasn't just a mining operation anymore. Hours later, they approached Vexara's outer system. The planet hung before them like a bloody jewel. Red sun, jungle surface obscured by steam clouds. And surrounding it, the largest Dravex fleet any of them had ever seen. Mother of, Cairo whispered, that's not a mining operation. That's an invasion staging ground. Hundreds of spiked Dravex warships orbited the planet in perfect formations. Their hulls gleamed with ritual markings, and their weapon arrays hummed with barely contained power. They're not just mining void crystals, Zara realized. They're building something big. Clyra's scan results appeared on the main display. Massive energy readings from the surface. Whatever they're constructing down there, it's drawing power from the planet's core. Finn's voice cracked slightly. "If they finish that thing." "They won't," Aria said firmly. "We stick to the mission. Get in, destroy the stockpile, get out." "Through that fleet?" Cairo shook his head. "We need backup, real backup." "No time. Every hour we wait, more people die." Aria's jaw was set. "We use what we've got." Zara leaned forward. "I might have something. Those patrols we dodged, I hacked one of their navigation systems, got a route through their sensor grid. Risky, but possible." Cairo looked skeptical. "Define risky." "We'd have to thread between 3 destroyer formations, time our approach with their patrol rotations, and hope their sensors don't adapt to Clyra's jamming." "That's not risky," Cairo muttered. "That's suicide." "Got a better idea?" Zara challenged. Before Cairo could respond, proximity alarm screamed again. A new contact, massive and moving fast. "Dreadnought!" Finn yelled. "Coming right for us." Through the asteroid field came a Dravex command ship the size of a skyscraper. Its hull was covered in weapon pods, and its prow gleamed with ritual scarification. Most terrifying of all, it was scanning the asteroids methodically, hunting them. "They know we're here," Aria breathed. The Dreadnought's searchlights swept across their hiding spot. In seconds they'd be found. "Decision time," Zara said urgently. "My route or certain death." Aria looked at her team. Finn pale but determined, Cairo tense but ready, Zara confident despite the odds. Clyra's hologram steady as she prepared her hacks. Aiden looked tense and ready for battle. Zara's route, do it. "Are you insane?" Cairo exploded. "We'll be vaporized." "Maybe. Or maybe we save a planet." Aria's eyes blazed. "I didn't come this far to run from bugs." The searchlight found them. Instantly, the Dreadnought's weapons began charging, a sound like thunder building in the deep. "Too late to argue!" Aria slammed the throttle forward. "Hold on to something." The Starfire burst from cover as the asteroid behind them vaporized in a column of plasma. They were fully exposed now, racing toward the most heavily defended planet in Dravex space. And that's when Zara's real plan became clear. "I lied about the safe route," she said calmly. "There isn't one, but there's something better." Cairo stared at her in disbelief. "What?" "A way to turn their entire fleet against itself." Her fingers flew over her console. "I've been analyzing their communications protocols. They use a central command frequency to coordinate fleet movements." "So?" Zara's smile was sharp. "So what happens if we hijack that frequency and broadcast the wrong orders?" Clyra's eyes widened. "Chaos. Pure chaos." "Exactly. While they're shooting each other, we slip through to the surface." "Brilliant!" shouted Finn, greatly impressed. Aiden said nothing but gave an approving nod. "And if it doesn't work?" Cairo demanded. Zara shrugged. "Then we die. But at least we die trying to save people instead of running away." Behind them, more dreadnoughts were emerging from the fleet, a whole battle group converging on their position. "Do it," Aria ordered. "Send their fleet to hell." Zara's fingers flew over her console as dreadnoughts closed in from all sides. "Clyra, I need you to amplify my signal, broadcast on their command frequency." "On it." Clyra's tattoos blazed as she worked. "You've got maybe 30 seconds before they trace the hack." "That's all I need." Zara's voice was ice-cold and focused. "Transmitting now." Across the Dravex fleet, orders flooded the command network, but they were chaotic. Destroyer groups received orders to fire on each other. Patrol wings were directed to ram their own flagships. Battle formations were commanded to break and scatter. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the fleet erupted. Plasma fire streaked between Dravex ships as confused captains followed contradictory orders. A destroyer turned its guns on its neighbor. 2 battlecruisers collided in a spectacular explosion. Patrol fighters swarmed their own command ships. "It's working!" Finn shouted, staring at his sensors in disbelief. "They're tearing each other apart!" "Now we run," Aria said, diving the Starfire toward Vexara's surface. Behind them, the greatest Dravex fleet ever assembled was destroying itself, but their victory was short-lived. "Contact on sensors," Finn called out grimly. "Something big is coming up from the planet." Through the clouds rose a ship unlike anything they'd seen, sleek, organic, covered in pulsing veins of energy. It dwarfed even the dreadnoughts. "That's not a ship," Clyra whispered. "That's their weapon, the planet cracker." the alien vessel's hull crackled with void energy. Where its beams touched the warring fleet above, ships ceased to exist, not destroyed, but erased from reality. It's fully operational, Zara breathed. We're too late. No, Aria's voice cut through their despair. We finished the mission. That thing needs power to work, right? If we destroy the crystal mines, we will cut its fuel. Aria, look at it! Cairo gestured at the massive weapon. That thing could glass a dozen worlds. Aiden's expression turned even darker, his eyes ablaze with anger and pure hatred. Then we better move fast. Aria pushed the shuttle into a screaming dive toward the planet's surface. Finn, find me those mines! Clara, jam everything they've got! Cairo, Zara, Aiden, prep for ground assault. They plunged through Vexara's atmosphere into a hell of steam and crystal. The mining complex spread across the jungle like a cancer. Massive excavation sites connected by transport tunnels, all feeding into a central processing facility that pulsed with void energy. There, Finn pointed. Main reactor's in the center. Take that out, the whole network goes down. And the slaves? Zara asked. Aria's jaw tightened. We save who we can. But the mission comes first. She was mortified at the thought of what the slaves were going through. But whole planets would be destroyed if they didn't destroy the mines. They sat down in a clearing near the complex. The moment they stepped outside, the heat hit them like a physical blow. The air was thick, oppressive, hard to breathe. Within seconds, each one of them was sweating profusely. Stay together, Aria ordered, checking her weapons. Fast in, fast out. They moved through the jungle toward the nearest tunnel entrance. The sounds of the mining operation echoed through the trees. Machinery grinding, overseers shouting, the crack of energy whips. At the tunnel mouth they found their first obstacle, a squad of Dravex elites guarding the entrance. The insectoids' carapaces gleamed with ritual markings, their faceted eyes scanning for threats. 4 targets, Cairo whispered. Clean takedown on my mark. They struck simultaneously. Plasma bolts and hacking viruses hit the guards before they could raise an alarm. The elites collapsed, ichor pooling in the red dirt. So far so good, Zara muttered. They were wrong. The moment they entered the tunnel, alarms began wailing throughout the complex. Emergency lights bathed everything in a hellish red glow. They know we're here, Clara said, her hologram flickering in the interference. Then we go loud, Aria decided. Straight to the reactor, no stops. What followed was a running battle through the mining complex. Dravex warriors poured out of side passages, their energy weapons illuminating the tunnels. The team fought their way deeper, past slave quarters where gaunt human figures watched with desperate hope. Aiden turned to Aria, wanting to rescue the slaves. We'll come back for them, Aria promised, though she wasn't sure they'd survive long enough to keep that promise. The reactor chamber was a cathedral of void crystal, massive formations pulsing with dark energy. At its center stood something that made them all freeze, a human figure in Dravex armor directing the operations. Well, well, the traitor said, turning to face them. His face was scarred, cybernetic implants gleaming. Aria Voss, right on schedule. Commander Hayes, Aria breathed. You're supposed to be dead. Death is for the weak, Hayes smiled coldly. The Dravex showed me true power, and soon humanity will kneel or burn. Over my dead body, Aria snarled. That can be arranged. Hayes raised his weapon, a void energy rifle that hummed with lethal power. The final battle erupted in the reactor chamber. Hayes had become something more than human, faster, stronger, enhanced by Dravex technology. But Aria's team had something he'd lost, the will to fight for others. Cairo took a blast meant for Zara, going down hard, injured, but still alive. Zara returned the favor, her shots forcing Hayes into cover. Finn worked frantically at a console, trying to overload the reactor while Clara held off the digital security systems. Amazingly, Aiden took down 2 Dravex elites by himself, fueled by his rage and thirst for revenge. Almost got it, Finn shouted over the weapon's fire. Hayes laughed. Too late! The weapon's already charging. In 10 minutes, Earth burns! That's when Aiden made his choice. Instead of seeking cover, he sprinted straight at Hayes, drawing his fire. His void beam caught him in the chest, but his momentum carried him forward. He crashed into him, and they both went down. Aiden! Cairo struggled to his feet, wounded but alive. Reactors ready! Finn called out. But someone needs to trigger the overload manually. They all knew what that meant. Manual trigger meant staying behind. I'll do it, Aria said simply. Like hell, Cairo growled. This is my job. No, Aiden pulled himself up. Hayes unconscious beside her. Blood ran down his t-shirt, but his eyes blazed with determination. Their destruction will be my legacy. This is what I trained for. Before anyone could stop him, he slammed his fist down on the manual trigger. The reactor began to scream. Run! Aiden shouted. 30 seconds to overload! As they ran through the collapsing tunnels, Aria made a split-second decision. The slave quarters! This way! Aria, we don't have time! Cairo shouted over the rumbling. We make time! She veered left toward the holding areas they'd passed earlier. The slave quarters were chaos, hundreds of prisoners breaking free as their electronic locks failed in the reactor overload. Gaunt humans stumbled into the corridors, blinking in the emergency lighting. This way! Move! Move! Finn waved them toward the exit, his technical skills finally put to heroic use. Clyra's hologram appeared among the freed prisoners. I've unlocked all the restraint systems. Every cage is open. A massive rumble shook the complex. Chunks of crystal fell from the ceiling. 20 seconds, Cairo warned. Aria grabbed an elderly prisoner who'd fallen. Can you run? The old man's eyes blazed with renewed life. For freedom, I can fly. The stream of liberated humans poured out of the tunnels just as the reactor went critical. Aria was the last one out, dragging 2 injured prisoners as the complex collapsed behind them in a pillar of void energy. Aria grabbed Finn, Cairo limping beside them. At the chamber entrance, Aria looked back one last time. Aiden stood in the center of the chaos, holding the trigger down as void energy swirled around her. He looked up, caught Aria's eye, and smiled. For the first time since his family was slaughtered, he was at peace. Get him home, boss. The explosion vaporized the entire mining complex. The shockwave knocked the team flat as they reached their shuttle. Above them, the planet cracker weapon flickered and died as its power source vanished. In orbit, what remained of the Dravex fleet retreated in confusion and shame. 3 days later, aboard a rescue ship, Admiral Thorne's weathered face filled the comm screen. The weapons neutralized, the fleet scattered, and we've evacuated over 1,000 slaves from the complex ruins, he reported. Outstanding work, all of you. He paused. I'm sorry about Sanderson. His sacrifice saved millions of lives. Aria stood at the viewport, looking out at the stars. Finn worked quietly at his console. Cairo sat nearby, bandaged but healing. Zara caught him stealing an admiring glance at her and stifled a chuckle. Sir, Aria said finally, Aiden earned a promotion, even if he couldn't be there to receive it. Agreed. The medal will be presented to his brother. Thorne's expression softened slightly. Get some rest, all of you. The war's not over. But today we won. The transmission ended. In the quiet that followed, Finn looked up from his console. I'm picking up more signals, he said softly. Faint ones. Human ones. Aria turned from the viewport, that familiar fire lighting her eyes. Show me, Finn. Every signal's a fight worth taking. As the rescue ship turned toward the next mission, a final transmission crackled through space, a Dravex overlord's voice, full of cold rage. The purge has only begun. We will remember this defeat. We will return. But humanity's answer blazed back through the void in the form of a small ship carrying heroes ready to fight, no matter the odds.